We're working from home today. You're at Goody Two Sticks Knits. I'm Lizabeth Towers, and here you are in my kitchen with me. Casual. We're letting down our hair. We're eating chocolate chips. Have a few. They are very good medicine for times like these. So today what we're going to do is look at some very nice but low stress knits, things that are fun to knit. We're going to find out what in the world do you do when your life, your knitting, completely falls off the needles. We're going to meet designer Licole and see some of her gorgeous patterns. We're going to have a chance to win some nice yarn dyed by me. So stick with me. First of all, most importantly, today I need to say thank you, dear essential workers. What would we do without you? We need you. And thank you because what you're doing makes it possible for me and other people like me to have the privilege of sheltering at home. We need you and we appreciate you. Thanks so much. The rest of us, let's stay home. Let's think about others, okay? Let's give away some yarn. First of all, I'm trying to give away this yummy worsted weight merino to Sylvia Farina. Sylvia, I have messaged you twice on YouTube and I'm not getting an answer. Please be okay. I hope you're well. Please also contact me by May 7th, 2020, because I need to know where to send your yarn. And if I don't hear from you, I'm going to have to rehome that yarn. I'd rather send it to you. Please reach out. On to our current winner from the last episode. Remember, we're giving away this fingering weight Hope colorway, which I happen to like a lot. And it's merino. Congratulations, Margaret Rodee. You've won this drawing. Please reach out to me. Please message me either on Ravelry.com or on Instagram. Both places I'm Goody Two Sticks Knits. And give me your address so I will know where to ship your yarn. Off my sticks. See that? This is the Ripple Bralette by Jessie Maed Designs. It took the knitting world by storm. And I'm featuring it today because it is one of the most flexible and adaptable garments I've ever knit. At first, I didn't plan to make it because I thought, well, I probably wouldn't go around in just this because, well, I like to cover up more. That's my comfort zone. But I did put a few modifications. I made it a couple inches longer and I made the neckline a couple inches higher. And that means that this can be worn like a long underwear layer when it's below zero. It can be worn like a camisole because on me it's basically camisole length. And in the summertime, it can even be worn like a pajama top. It's soft merino wool. And you know, they like to use wool in the tropics because do you realize that wool is naturally wicking? It pulls the moisture away from you. And so while wool insulates in the winter, it also is comfortable in the summer if it's a light enough weight. So my advice to you is if you make this garment, I would suggest you make it a size smaller than you would expect to wear because it is so flexible and so stretchy. Look at this thing. Man alive. It's kind of amazing. And it's because of its adaptability that I chose it today to show it off, because my story today is about being adaptable. Once upon a time, about a month and a half ago, there was an engaged couple. I know about them because they attend my son's church small group. And they were planning their wedding. They had booked the pastor, booked the church, booked a reception venue, were booking the caterer. And this was all to take place in November. Then along came COVID, and they took action. What was it that they did? Well, I am going to tell you pretty soon. But first of all, I'm going to introduce you to our featured designer. Her name is Licole. I'm going to tell you what Licole says about herself. Licole Knits was founded to create a refuge from symptoms of anxiety and depression, but it quickly grew into a passion for storytelling through knit design. With an imaginative view of reality, keen eye for beautiful aesthetics, delicate details, and bespoke qualities, I focus on designing soulful and sophisticated pieces that romantics like me can enjoy for a long time. When I am not knitting or designing, I'm creating in some other way. I love photography, cooking, and cinematography. I have one human baby, not such a baby at 20, and one fur baby. We live in upstate New York. Stay well, Mara, because we need you. Here is her first design, the rose that grew from concrete. This shawl looks as inspiring as its name and as the story that inspired it. It works up quickly in DK weight yarn. Since it's an off-shoulder triangle, it stays on the shoulders nicely. Mara's Roses from Concrete hat is an exclusive free download for those who purchase the pattern just featured. Check it out. It's cute. It's practical. Mara has a couple new releases just out. This one is called In Honor of Her. It's rich in texture, making use of two-color brioche lace, as well as other lace techniques, plus an I-cord bow. In Honor of Her, too, is a variation on the theme, also making use of multiple lace patterns and I-cord. However, it does not utilize brioche for those who have yet to learn that technique. The Rebel in Me uses both brioche and garter ridges in stockinette stitch with a contrast color border. Do check out Licole Knits on Ravelry.com. She's also on Instagram, and all her contact information is in the show notes below. But one thing I love is reading the stories behind each design. They're all told on Ravelry, so do look her up. Thank you, Mara, for letting me feature you today. What strikes terror into every beginning knitter's heart? Well, it's when their stitches all fall off the needles, right? A lot of us feel like our lives are unraveling right now. We don't need to be stressed out about our knitting. So let's just remedy that one right away. Today, I'm going to teach you what to do when your knitting falls off your needles. Here goes. Oh no, what do I do now? It can be unnerving for a new knitter when the stitches fall off their needles. It is an inconvenience, but it's not a catastrophe. Here we are. See these? All off the needle. Well, let's start at the beginning. Unless you're using an unconventional method of knitting, this is how stitches are to be mounted on the needle. Think right leg forward. What do I mean? Let's remove this stitch from the needle and take a look at it. Here is the right leg of the stitch. Here is the left leg of the stitch. See that? And it goes on your needle with the right leg to the front, towards you. This is true whether you're looking at the front of your knitting, at the back of your knitting, whether you're knitting or purling. In fact, let's take a look at a stitch more closely from the back. See this one? I'm going to leave it on the needle so you can see how this is. But see how this is? The right leg is forward. The left leg is behind. And we're on the wrong side of our knitting. Well, to remount the stitches, let's remount these stitches, shall we? If you have a smaller size double-pointed needle or circular needle handy, they work well because it's easy to stick them through. So just try to get them through. If it's convenient, stick it through, mounting the right leg forward. But look, this one isn't cooperating, is it? So just get it on the needle however you can, and don't worry that much about which leg is forward. Oh, good. This one is unraveling a little bit. Let's give it a hand here so that we get experience on what to do if one of the stitches runs away. Oh, here we go. Let's just nab that one. I'm going to grab it backwards just so. I'm going to grab a few backwards on purpose so you can see how we're going to plan to fix those on our next round. So what do? First thing we do is let's capture this runaway stitch. It can't run away anymore if we stop it in some way. I'm going to use a locking stitch marker to stop it. Now here we are. We've got most of the stitches captured again. And now we're going to start working our way across. Oh, but see, the very first stitch is mounted incorrectly. Do you see how the right leg is not forward, but it's behind? To correct an incorrectly mounted stitch, which is called a twisted stitch, simply work into the back leg of the stitch when you come to it. So I'm going to work into the back leg of the stitch instead of the front leg, which is what we would normally do. This stitch is mounted correctly, so we work into the front. We'll work across until we find one that is incorrectly mounted. Oh, and here's the little guy now. See how this right leg is behind the needle? Okay, instead of working into the front leg of the stitch like usual, to untwist the twisted stitch, we just work into the back leg. Here we go again. Here we go. We're going to uncross that stitch. Oh, good. Here we are to the really bad part. That looks intimidating, but all is not lost. Here's what we do. Put the runaway stitch onto a crochet hook. And do you see how we've got rungs of a ladder here? We are going to just crochet up the rungs of the ladder. We're going to pick up the loop and pull each rung through it until we get to the top rung. That one we're going to mount on the left needle correctly, and now we're ready to knit it. Here we go. See, the work is salvaged. All right. That stitch is mounted correctly. Oh, but this little guy is wrong. It's twisted. We'll knit through the back and untwist it, as we will with this one. And this one. Good, we're getting lots of practice. This is right. Would you like to see what it looks like when you knit a purl stitch in such a way as to untwist a stitch? We can do that if you want. I'm just going to knit one or two. Now, look at this. I'm going to use my fingers and I'm going to incorrectly mount this stitch on the needle so you can see what it would look like. See that? See how it's incorrectly mounted? So we will just purl into the back leg. The twist has been untwisted and we are ready to go on with our work. Hope that helps you. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Getting back to the engaged couple who was up to their eyeballs in planning their wedding. They were living apart and they decided they didn't want to shelter at home separately, alone, by themselves, without each other. And so they swung into action. They got their marriage license, they made arrangements with the pastor, and they invited their family and friends to watch as they streamed their private ceremony online. I love this story because it's a testimony to the adaptability of human beings. They didn't get to follow through on plan A, but they're so adaptable and so flexible that my guess is that they're just as in love and just as happily married as they would have been if plan A had been what they followed. So here they are, caring for one another, supporting one another. And to me, it just kind of goes to show that sometimes dire world circumstances bring really a lot of clarity to our hearts about what is the most important to us. Apparently, that's what it did for them. You understand that I am not advising people to go run out and get married or basically to do anything. I have no advice. It's just that I think it's neat that people can adapt and roll with the punches. Oh, we're going to have another yarn giveaway. But first, I'm going to tell you what my darling folk school knitters are up to. Obviously, we are not meeting on Tuesday evenings. We're Zooming on Tuesday evenings. And that's fun, although I miss the contact. It's fun, though not everybody gets to come to our Zoom meetings. But some of them did send me photos of what they've been making, and it's neat. I'm going to share them with you. Elizabeth is a terrific sweater knitter, and here she's modeling her latest finished object, which is the Turtle Dove Pullover pattern by Espace Tricot. This sweater has really clean, minimalist lines, and because of that, I think it flatters in settings that are either casual or elegant. Thanks, Elizabeth. We love this. Gwen is an essential worker at our historic general store here in Marine on St. Croix. Our whole little town is so thankful to be able to get what we need at that little store. Here is what Gwen's been working on. She is embroidering this tablecloth, well, cross-stitching it. And she's working so hard on it. She said she's like a dog with a bone, and she is determined to get this thing finished. It's beautiful, Gwen. Lynn is smart and savvy and has a consulting business. She just knit the cutest baby sweater I've ever laid eyes on. Lynn is unflappable and not only keeps going, but finds ways to stay connected to her friends during this time, offering that most precious of commodities, companionship. Carrie is a busy mom who's not only working from home, but is suddenly homeschooling. Carrie has a heart for reusing and recycling, and she did this painting with acrylics on recycled canvas. How neat is that? Well done, Carrie. Valerie made a whole bunch of swatches when she was mastering cables. She turned those swatches into this snuggly afghan by inserting sashes of garter stitch between the squares. How comforting would it be to wrap up in this thing? Not only that, but Valerie's using her time at home to accomplish many home projects and cross those projects off her list. You're inspiring, Valerie. What about mysterious Marilyn, you ask? This is one busy girl. Look at her 3, count them, 3 lace baby blankets. Plus, she's blessing the people around her as she shares fresh eggs from her own chickens. And listen, eggs are not always easy to get a hold of right here at this time, so that is really nice. Thanks, Marilyn. All this is proof that you can't hold a great woman down, nor can you stop a beautiful soul from creating beautiful things. I am so proud of our darling folk school group, every single one of them, not because of what they're making or what they're not making, because they don't have to be making something, but because of who they are. Their trademark is kindness, and I am so blessed to have them in my life. Thanks, knitters. I love you. Onward to our new yarn giveaway. Can you see this? Whoops, let me find it. Okay, these 2 skeins are superwash Highland wool. Now, let me explain something to you about wool. Merino wool is the super soft, kind of seductive stuff, to tell the truth, that is so popular now. But Highland wool, it has longer fibers than Merino does. Therefore, it will pill less and it will wear longer. This is still easy care since it's superwash, and it still passes the neck test. When I want to know if wool is soft, I hold it up to my neck. This is soft and comfortable, but it is not merino, so don't expect merino. I personally prefer to knit a garment out of wool that has longer fibers than merino. I love merino when I'm making a scarf or a shawl, but if I want the garment to hold up, I really like wool. And this is Highland wool from Peru, so it's really nice. And I like the blue speckles. Do you? So, to enter, you must subscribe and leave a comment below. Oh, please subscribe. It would help me so much. Yeah, do that. And also, my contact information, if you ever need it, is in the show notes below. So, hey, we've reached the end of our work at home episode. You want a few chocolate chips before we stop? Do you notice some of them are gone? Why would that be? My heart health tip for the day is, not really a tip, just an acknowledgement that we are all not operating on plan A. We're on plan D or E or F by now. And yet, those plans that we didn't expect to have to implement can be good plans. they can be good plans. And sometimes we can even adapt to those alternate plans gracefully. Sometimes we can. Well, anyway, sometimes we're not so graceful, but we can recover from that too, can't we? Thanks for joining me today. I love you all. Stay well. Stay home. Bye.